It's 1957, and Julie, a 12-year-old little girl, is in the hospital hooked up to monitors and on life support. She has been only given a few more hours to live, and her parents have been called in to say their goodbyes. Heartbreakingly, Julie contracted the measles, and a deadly disease, and a vaccine would not be created for another 5 years. Situations like this were quite common in the United States and in other countries at the beginning of the 20th century, when infectious diseases were widely prevalent. Thousands of children and young adults suffered and died each year, although their lives could have been saved had a vaccine been available. Today I will discuss the history of vaccines, explain how vaccines work, and the process in which they are made. A brief history from the Immunization Advisory Center in Auckland, Australia gives us information that the first successful vaccine was created by English physician Edward Jenner in 1796. When he used matter from cowpox pustules to inoculate patients that successfully also showed smallpox, a related virus. Smallpox once was a devastating disease. It was highly contagious, and approximately 30% of people who contracted it died. Those who survived were often left badly scarred. Smallpox was eventually eradicated completely from the world in 1977, states the Carter Center, a global organization promoting disease prevention. From 1897 to 1924, Louis Pasteur established a new process using live viruses to develop vaccines for anthrax and rabies. Today, these vaccines are more refined, but Louis Pasteur's work paved the way for development for many other important vaccines. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, polio was one of the most feared diseases because of outbreaks caused thousands of cases of paralysis and deaths each year. Parents were frightened to let their children go outside, particularly during the summer months when the virus seemed to peak. Travel and commerce were also negatively affected, and those potential exposure to the virus were often quarantined. These circumstances led researcher Jonas Salk to create the vaccine in 1957, which resulted in eradication 20 years later, states the CDC. Now that we've discussed the history of vaccines, you may be wondering how exactly a vaccine works and why they are necessary. Allow me to explain. When foreign invaders, such as bacteria or viruses, enter the body, the immune cells, called lymphocytes, respond by producing antibodies which fight the invader. They protect against further infection. Unfortunately, the first time the body faces an antigen, it can take several days to ramp up a response. For nasty antigens such as the measles, you might not have that time. The infection can kill the person and spread very quickly. This is where a vaccine comes into play. A vaccine works by preparing the body's immune system to ward off disease. Clearly, the world has come a long way in fight against infectious diseases, although we all know with the recent coronavirus, there are more infectious diseases just waiting to emerge. The good thing is we know how to fight them. The benefit of creating an effective vaccine is tremendous, but the journey can be often long and difficult. The CDC has set forth steps in vaccine development that often last 10 to 15 years and includes 6 stages: the exploratory, preclinical, clinical development, regulatory review, manufacturing, and quality control. Preclinical studies involve the use of tissue or cell cultures and animal testing to assess the safety and efficiency of the vaccine. Clinical development is the stage in which clinical trials are conducted on human subjects, and this stage might take several years. The last 3 phases, provided that each phase yields a positive result, the FDA will start an approval process for manufacturing. After, the FDA will inspect the factory where the vaccine may be made and approve the labeling of the vaccine. The FDA will continue to monitor the production of the vaccine. This includes inspecting facilities, reviewing the manufacturer's test of lots of vaccines for potency, safety, and purity. The FDA has the right to conduct its own testing at any time, at any manufacturer's site. Vaccines are an important part of the family of public health, and they prevent the spread of contagious and dangerous and deadly diseases. It is important to continue working on vaccines. The process is slow, but is very important for public health. Thank you.